Hi everyone, trust you all are doing well. So what we're going to do in this one is we're going to set up our trade in order to handle, to receive the replies. Okay, so we go to app, and you remember we created a trades folder. So I'm just going to create a new file and call this as replies. Okay, so now we created that, and what we're going to do is, as you guys remember, opening and closing PHP tags. Right, and we're going to have our namespace. It's going to be amp trades, right? And now we're going to create our trade. Okay, so this trade like this, and we're going to call this as replies. Spelled this must be AI. Okay, so we got our trade right there. Now the first one that we're going to need is we're going to public function, and this is going to be the replies. And this is just basically just going to return this reply relation. Replies relation. Okay. And the next one is basically all these methods will be now available in our reply class. So whatever class we add our HasReplies, all these methods will basically be available to that class. Great. So the next one is public function, and this one is going to be the latest replies. This is going to be an integer, and the amount is going to be 5. You can set it to whatever amount you want. Okay, and then we're just going to return this replies relation. Latest. The latest basically comes with Laravel. Okay, just the helper method, and we're just going to put in a limit. Found. Just going to say get. Okay, so when we call on this latest replies, this is basically what it will return. Okay, so just bring us the latest replies with the amount of 5, and then just get it. Okay. Okay, the next thing that we want to do is we want to delete replies. Okay, so let's go to another object function. Delete replies. So if I do misspell something, I will normally get an error, then I will just come back to fix it. Okay, so then we're just going to create a for each. So we got our for each. Just going to go this replies relation. So I get that. The reason for this is we just want to iterate over the replies and delete them separately because all the related models needs to be deleted as well. Okay, so we're just going to call this reply, and it's going to reply okay, so we got all that set up, and then we just want to set replies. Right, so we got that done. Now the next part is our polymorphic, the relation that we just keep on referencing right here. So that's the relation we just need to create quickly. So public function. Okay, this is going to be the replies relation. Right, so the one that we're referencing right here. Okay, so this needs to be a morph many, morph many. Okay, and then we're just going to return this move many. Why doesn't it show it? Okay, let me just type it out. Move many. Okay, this move many. Make sure you import it. Okay, no, I did import it at the top. Okay, then we're just going to do the replies class. Okay, and this is going to be the replies relation. Okay, and then our replyable type and our replyable ID right there. Okay, so now we finished creating our trade. Now the next part that we need to do is we need to create our policy. All right, so if the user, so let's say, let's go to our reply controller. Right, so in here I actually want a policy to determine if the user can store or update or all that kind of stuff. Right, so let's create a policy quickly. So we finish with our trade, and actually we need to bring in this trade. Let's bring in this trade quickly in our thread. Okay, so let's just open up our thread model. So in order for our replies to work in our threads, we need to just bring in our trade that just has replies. Okay, just make sure you import it at the top as well. As you can see, mine is up there. All right, so let's quickly create our policy. So let's open up our terminal. All right, so it's PHP artisan make policy, and we're just going to create our reply. Let's call it plural. Singular, actually, not plural. Reply policy. Okay, and then press enter. Okay, so our policy is successfully created. So let's go to that policy. Policy. All right, so our policy is open. In order to get there, you just go to app, policies, and you'll see you've got your reply policy. You guys remember we created our thread policy. Now I'm just going to create a reply policy. Right, so there's not too much to do in here, so let's just create a couple of things in here. Right, we're going to create 3 constants. All right, and the first one is going to be the create. Right, so we want to know if the user can create. All right, the next one is the update. And obviously the delete. All right, so let's create. So this basically what it does is if we call on this reply policy like this, reply policy, then we can call on the create like this. Then we can call on that, and that will call the method. Okay, so that's all it does. Just makes it kind of very much easier. So let's just create a public function. All right, and we're gonna create this create right there. And this is going to be a boolean, return a boolean, true or false. And then we're going to bring in our user model. Okay. And this will return if the user has verified the email. That's all it's going to do. So if the user hasn't verified the email, this will either return true or false, because I want the user's emails to be verified before they can create a reply. Right, so this is basically a policy, what that policy will do. Right, the next one is going to be the update. It's just to see if the user can update it or not. So public function, this is going to be the update. All right, so if we call on the constant right here, it will call on the update method. All right, so we're passing in the user model again, and we pass in our reply model. Okay, just make sure all of that is imported. As you can see, we've got a reply in our user model right there. So I'm just going to keep on repeating that because sometimes simple errors is because the class is not brought in at the top. Right, so just return this reply. Okay, so what we're going to do, if this reply is authored by the user, okay, or the user is a moderator, right? So if the reply is authored by the user, or if that user is a moderator, or if the user is admin. Okay, so it's basically our, okay, close that off. It's not saved, and I don't want it to do that. Right, so the next one is we're going to do the same thing actually for the delete. So let's just bring it down. So this is basically going to be the delete right there. All right, so in the delete, we want to make sure if that reply is authored by that user or that user is moderator or admin. Right, so we created our policy. Now the thing is we need to register our policy. So we go to our providers. Right, and under our providers, you go to auth service provider and you'll have this open right there. And then we're just going to have a reply clause. And this is going to be that reply policy class. All right, so I brought that in, but I don't think it's, yeah, I think it's necessary because I normally just import it at the top. It's just kind of habit nowadays, just to bring in everything. All right, so the next thing is after we've done that, we have all set up our policy. So now we can use our policy in our controller or wherever we need them in our views. All right, so that will be it for this lesson. So now we're all done. And so we can be able to work on our controller right there because now we have our trade in our thread. So we can be able to create a thread or store a thread. All right, thank you guys for watching. And if you like the video, please give it a like. If you don't, please give it a dislike. And positive or negative feedback is always appreciated. The likes, I just want to mention, is just for other people that will find the videos if you do find the videos useful. All right, so if you find the lessons useful, and if you give it a like, YouTube will think, all right, this video is important. Let me suggest it to someone else to find the lesson. That's all it is there for, not to inflate my ego or anything. All right, thank you guys, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.